here is the precise, the least amount of exercise required. The logical place to start, even if you're skeptical, is with the least amount possible. The logical place to start is not with an arbitrary number like 20, but with the least amount possible. In other words, if one set doesn't work, you can't go any lower to find the least amount necessary. You can't do 0 sets and have a workout. If one set doesn't work, you could always go to 2. But I can save you the time and the headache. I've already worked it out. I've trained over 400 people, closer to 500 people now over the last 4.5 years. 1 set per exercise and never more than 2 sets per muscle is all that's needed. That's just the way it is. And if you're incredulous, you're skeptical, the reason for that is that you still have operative in your subconscious the childlike logic that more is better. And if more is really better, as they imply, then why not do 200 sets? Why stop at 20? Where did they ever get the number 20 anyway? It's literally arbitrary. Remember, science is an exacting discipline. There's no room for the arbitrary in science.
What's up, family? What's going on, IconoCast-ites? What's going on? We're back. 2 weeks back into the new season. We'll do seasons on IconoCast now.
Is that right? We're gonna have another season break.
That's what. Yeah. No, hopefully not.
Hopefully not.
But you never know. Our producers, the network might let us know, that the season's over and we're gonna start a new one soon. So it's nice to see you guys, man. It's nice to see everybody in chat. I can't see chat, neither can Billy, but we got the comments coming up. So I don't know who's there, but it's still nice to see it. Thank you for being with us. For the moggings, let them proceed. Let them progress. Let us progressively load the moggings for you. Bill, what's going on tonight, man? We got some cool stuff lined up in the next couple of weeks, so I figure we maybe jump right into that, and then we can A-log one of these vol cells, one of these fools.
Yeah, we're gonna have some guests on the show. Got some good guys, good friends of mine. My boy Renee out in Germany. He's gonna come and talk to us about some more advanced theories on HIIT training. Taking some things from dog crap and some ideas to get more out of motor unit recruitment. Just some technical stuff he wants to come and discuss. I'm a bit of a fundamentalist when it comes to HIIT. I really don't think that we need to add much more to heavy duty 3, but I'd like to hear what he has to say. I got my boy Gideon. He's a classic physique bodybuilder. Guy is an incredible physique, incredible shape, and he has a very interesting perspective on supplementation and how it can improve neurological output, which can help us in our performance so we can dig even deeper into our sets. So that's exciting. Next weekend, we have a debate with a science bro, a quote unquote science-based individual, who says that, let's just say, I know you'll love this, man, but he's definitely studied under the structuralist models.
Oh,
so he's educated. He's an educated fellow, and he's going to teach us that volume is important. And that, more than one set is better and that you should just deload. So we're going to debate that topic, and that'll be fun. We'll be civil, but it will be a slaughter regardless, just is what it is. We have the truth, guys. It's that simple.
We're going to be nice, and we're going to be polite. We're going to be good hosts.
You know who I wouldn't be nice to? You know who I absolutely would not be nice to?
I got a funny feeling I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, it's this guy on YouTube. His name is Bromley or something. He's fat and doesn't have any muscle, but tells me I don't know how to grow muscle properly.
It's weird. I've heard of this guy. Yeah,
what's up with that?
Perplexed. I recently meaning 20 minutes ago, watched some of his vids, and it left me perplexed, man. It left me upset emotionally. A little bit off kilter, let's say. Man, first of all, dude, like, let's just present. We'll try and loosely frame who this guy is for our
Are you
audience.
familiar with this fellow?
I'm not familiar with his background at all. We'll get into that some other time because we didn't research it and stuff like that. But he seems to be a coach of some nature. I'm not sure what nature exactly because I'm pretty sure his clients aren't gaining any muscle. So we're gonna break this stuff down. We're gonna address some of his arguments and stuff here. But I want you guys to pay very close attention to the way this guy speaks and what the style of arguments he presents are. Because for those of us who, may or may not be dissidents, not restricted to the fitness sphere, let's say, maybe our dissidence overlaps into other general areas. We've heard this type of rhetoric before, and you've heard the style of argumentation before. So just keep it in mind while you listen to this man, because there's a term that floats around circles, certain circles that occupy certain, arguably darker areas of the web. Not the dark web, because that's a bad place, dirty, gross, bad place. But we'll call it the light web. Where the light shines through. We're relegated. These kind of folks are relegated to the corners of the web, and they call individuals like this. They refer to them as bugmen. I'm not going to say that I do that or that I subscribe to that type of behavior. I'm a very mainstream kind of normie. That's how I feel. But
I just want to say this: you always want to watch how a person approaches debate. When they are trying to refute an idea or teach you something, you need to be very, very conscious of the way they go about doing it. And like anytime I debate someone, there's usually three things that happen. There's always appeals to authority, and then there's character assassination, and then there's ad hominem attacks. So when a person doesn't have actual truth on their side, that's how they're going to debate you.
And you're about to see all three in fine form, ladies and gentlemen. All three in fine form.
In fine form.
Yeah, what's pretty incredible too is this. Anyways, we'll see him do it. But one of the things that blew my mind was that this dude, he starts referring because I guess what happened was he posted some anti-hit content. And he got destroyed in his own comment
section. He got wrecked in his comment section. Bad.
Which,
and then he had...
yeah.
No, go on.
Well, so apparently he did this before to to Westside Barbell and some Louis Simmons fans and stuff who are actually giant, strong individuals. Generally speaking, if you've done some Westside Barbell stuff, you're like probably huge and your lifts are huge and stuff like that.
If you survived, if you didn't blow your body apart, you're alive.
Yeah, exactly. So these types of dudes, like they generally have like prison records and stuff like that. So he took down all the Westside Barbell videos that he chirped Westside Barbell on. So he's generally not a courageous guy, I would go ahead and say, but especially in the face of criticism. But what he does here is he says that the hit people, the hit squad, let's say, were using science to, they were science cells, that they were using studies in science to support their arguments. And which is like a real about face for vol cells. Vol cells apparently can no longer use the science-based arguments to own the incel community, incel for intensity, and and thusly, because they can no longer do this, now they're attacking their own institutions. They're attacking science itself. So you're gonna see him do it here, and it's it's pleasurable to say the least. I found it pleasant, but I digress a little bit here. My intro's dragging out, but this dude blew my. I'm trying not to swear. We're on platforms where we can't swear. I don't know. Who cares? I guess.
5 minutes into this video, I watched one other one of him that he put out, but then he got roasted in his comments and he made this whole series, right? This 4-part series, the Anti-Hit Manifesto. Wow. Yeah. Who else wrote manifestos?
Yeah. What does that remind you? What kind of language are we approximating there, ladies and gentlemen? You know,
bro, 5 minutes in, I felt like I had trend rage. 5 minutes in.
Yeah,
I was so offended for anyone's ears who had to ingest this shit.
I'm not even on trend, and I got trend rage.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, it came off weeks ago.
It's still in your system.
No, it's acetate. It gets out in a couple of days.
Oh, okay. MPMD might say something about that. But so yeah, dude. Like, I was scrolling through his old videos, and there's like one of them that has like a hammer and sickle in the thumbnail. So there's a little hint. Yeah, dude. There's a little hint. Wow. I don't know what he was doing in the video. We'll have to look at that one another time, because he was talking about I think it was his periodization useless for power lifters. I'm not sure what he said, but we'll go look at that another time, and maybe we'll A-log that video, because this guy sucks. He's a bug man. Shout out Logan Paul. Okay, you guys can get mad at me for drinking Prime. There's my little product placement. We're gonna get copyright infringement for that. Who cares?
MPMD said that's worse than tap water.
I know, I saw the video, but bro, it's ice pop. Remember that when I was addicted to the Faygo? Remember when I was addicted to Faygo, like popsicle flavor? So they have Prime that's the same flavor, bro. So I'm off the sugar, but now I'm on the sucralose, and I'm probably gonna die anyways, of sucralose poisoning. So I promise I'll get off this one too, Billy. I'm sorry. Thank you, Logan Paul. Okay, shout out to you for saving me from the sugar demons. At least I'm not. At least Jim can't call me a juggalo anymore. For being on the Faygo. So, but yeah. So let's proceed here. Let's look at this, dude. First, okay. While you guys, we're about to press play here, but just please, take a moment and look at his physique, everybody. Okay, please. I think Billy had his hand up before when he was drinking something, and you guys have all seen Billy's physique. Okay, I flexed for you before. I'm skinnier, but I'm not fat. And this guy's fat. There we go. Look at that thing. Look at that. Look at those mountains.
The torn one. The torn one looks even cooler.
There we go. Look at those mountains. Slap him, Billy. There we go.
They're hard.
It's like that little kid. Have you seen that little kid? I posted him to my channel. That little kid from IG. Jacob. I love that little Irish kid. He's a legend. You've seen that?
No, I haven't.
I'll send it to you. No stress. Okay. No further ado, ladies and gentlemen. Alexander Bugman Bromley.
For the last 5 days, I've been in the trenches taking grenades in the comment section, and I had to make this video. I usually don't like to dwell on topics like this too long. I like to move on, but I got to put the last nail in this coffin. I got to address the insanity in the comment section from the Cult of High Intensity video I did last week. I want to start out by saying you're probably going to see some things from me that are a little new or a little.
Oh, yeah, you can skip ahead of this, buddy.
I'm upping my content week.
We don't care about his content.
Rant, a waste, but our videos or the videos more comment as if Yates and Menser, anything like what Yates and Menser did. There was also a lot of controversy over whether or not they actually did low volume training. Somebody shared a workout that Dorian Yates had endorsed from 1991 that was all pyramid sets. So there is, I think, reason to believe that a lot of these guys had a lot more volume, a lot more work in their training than many of the disciples think. I know Menser started out with volume. Andy Baker has a really good bit about how the reason HIIT works so well is because it came on the back end of volume. Like, oh, you don't say. You adapted to one type of training, and when that stopped being effective, switching the stimulus caused you to grow? No shit. Tell me more. That's like the backbone of programming. But anyways, I'm taking Jay to task because he's so hardline that this is the way to train.
Jay
And
Vincent
he
is the guy
bleeds
he's
over
talking about.
into what strength athletes should do. He had the Elliot Holst video where he's telling him to work you're already skilled. You don't need more skill. So just do the skill right before the contest. But off season, this is the best way to make the muscles bigger.
That
and
actually
stronger,
sounds
which
smart.
is a load of nonsense and horrible information for anybody who wants to be good at strength sports. But I'm going to get to that later. Apparently, after I made the video, Jay went live. And I remember seeing it. The title of the video was something like, "Somebody please show me a study that shows HIIT doesn't work," which right off the bat is like just a horrible, like weird, bad faith tactic, because the issue is not really had by anybody that HIIT doesn't or cannot work. It is with
Then what the fuck are you talking about, asshole?
It is the only way to work, or all of the beliefs they have about the way the human body grows that aren't based in reality. Like the only thing that matters is effort, or the only thing that matters are the effective reps.
Isn't that what the study said?
It's backwards, and it's verified.
Did the study show that it works?
150 years of barbell sports,
So pause it for a second, producer.
What the fuck?
So, like, these are, I just had the word in my head. Now I'm a fucking meathead, so I can't remember. These are straw mans, right? He's straw manning his own comment section as they're destroying him because he can't, because he's in the trenches, you know? He's taking grenades. You're a fucking, sorry, now I'm going to swear. Whatever, we're live. You can take it off YouTube. He's a fucking retard. Okay.
Oh, we're gonna get scraped.
I said the R word now too. But anyways, logical fallacy number one from this dude. Okay, right? Billy's named 3, right? And then he's already in for one that wasn't even on the list. You know what I mean? Like, and then just look
straw mans. Yeah,
the straw mans. Look at his love handles. Okay, please, just look at his physique. It's not good. Okay.
The soft doughiness.
Yeah. You can see when that little line across the middle of your body, right below that pumpkin head, is more narrow than the line like just around his fingertips. Do you understand, folks? This is not good.
That's not good. That's birth in the hips. He got some fat around his uterus. He's got some cushion around his uterus.
Dude,
that's sweet.
Like he says that and I think it's a different video. He says that you something about who you shouldn't be taking advice from. So like that people who say certain things, these are people regarding the HIIT community that you shouldn't be taking advice from. Take a look at that. That's argument number one. That's mogging top set number one. Okay.
I mean, there's so much to break down, though. I mean, like, to say that that high intensity or heavy duty training is effective because it comes off of the back of volume work. Oh yeah, these other people started off with volume work. Yeah, because that's all that was taught. That's all that anyone ever knew, because it was the same garbage that was fucking perpetrated and recycled since the 50s in the bodybuilding magazines. What did anyone else have? Ask any one of these people what their story of getting into bodybuilding was. It was picking up a magazine. No shit, they trained high volume. Duh.
Yeah. You went and got what was Arnold's book? My brain is mush.
The Arnold Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding.
Yeah, the Encyclopedia of Bodybuilding. Duh. That, or you picked up any one of Weider's magazines with the new latest and greatest craze from the guy doing 4 hours of training 6 days a week. Anyways, let's proceed. Let's get angry at the next thing he says.
That show that not to be the case. There are other variables. Emphasizing one involves de-emphasizing the others, but there are multiple variables, and they can all be leveraged to grow size and strength. And what happens when you get used to one? You plateau, you stop responding. When you adapt to it, it renders the stimulus inert. It just becomes another day at the office. The most intelligent thing you can do is not to put your head down and just say progressive overload and try to go harder, harder, harder. No, the most intelligent thing you can do is turn one of the dials do a little more work than you're used to, or a little more intensity, or a little more density. Adjust your training and watch yourself grow again. I need like an intervention when it comes to the comments, because I keep saying like I'm not going to engage with them anymore. Don't go and check my work, because that is not my best self. I'm aware of that. Talk to my wife about it. I've got a counselor. I'm looking into getting a priest. This is like an extension of like compulsive behavior mixed with like poor anger management. I'm aware of it. I'm working on it.
His rabbi isn't
get
helping
set
him.
off. It's because I see one of two things. Either one, I see the idiot trolls that just want to anonymously act like assholes on my feed. I know I'm getting like territorial over imaginary internet space. Like, don't come onto my channel and post your BS. But anyways, that sets me off. Or the people that have all of this unearned confidence in the things they're saying that are just absolutely
Unearned
wrong,
confidence,
not
bro.
based in
Let's pause
and I
that for a
saw
moment.
shit.
Let's pause that for a moment.
We're not even roasting his arguments. We're just roasting him.
Yeah, but I mean, you know, I guess this is ad hominem, but it's him doing it, bro. He started it. Blame yourself, Bromley.
This is low hanging fruit right here.
It is. It is, but it's so far it's the most enraging thing. So where he's going with this is like shock your muscles, right? Change up your exercises, right? If you're gonna change volume, when you hit a plateau, if you're gonna if you're gonna train for density, because that gets you jacked. We all know that. That doesn't get you injured.
What the fuck is density?
That's a
How am I going to change the
you know.
density of my training? What does that mean?
That's like CrossFit, you know, like if you give yourself a minute, how many reps can you do in your minute? And that's going to grow your muscle. It's not. And if it does, it's going to grow your muscle because you failed. You fatigued. At some point, the last 5 reps that you could barely do gave you the stimulus. We've talked about this before, obviously.
Like
right?
Effective reps?
Yeah, right. Like you did so many reps, you found some effective reps. And that's what happens with volume, right? So guys do grow with volume, as we know. It happens, but it's because they got tired, right?
It's because the last 5 reps on that 4 sets of 10 got hard.
Yeah, and then they had to recover from 35 other shitty reps. You know? So why do 35 other shitty reps and then have to deload and then have to cope like Alexander Bromley and switch and then say you need to switch important variables like density, bro. Density. Proceed with this.
Shit ton of that. I really like engaging with the comments because there's a lot of people that watch this channel diligently that contribute.
I don't think there are, by the way.
But even like talking to people that have different perspectives than I do, when they're willing and open to have a conversation. There were a couple of guys from the hit side of things that seemed to have that vibe, and I engaged with them accordingly. And I think there were some good back and forth, some good conversations. Overwhelmingly, though, like 95% of the people that were blatantly hit promoters were bottom of the barrel. You had people that were just trying to wear this scientific jargon like a mask. But it's like if you're a native speaker, you can hear what a fluent speaker sounds like. It's like if somebody was illiterate, but then they insist that they help you with your English homework. It doesn't make any sense. You could hear when they use this jargon that they're using it as an affectation to try and present the illusion of being intelligent or educated. It sounded like it was coming from people who just they haven't been within 10 square miles of a research lab, haven't read through textbooks,
character assassination,
haven't even had a passing interest in science and discipline.
Just take a moment. So, how many bodybuilders do you know who have been anywhere near a research lab or give a shit about a study? You stupid bugman. You nerd. You know what I mean? Like, and that's it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I'm making fun of this guy being fat and also bald because, like, he's being mean. He's being mean. It's not us being mean, Billy. We're nice. We're nice. It's unbelievable what this guy's coming with. Like, he's saying that the people in his chat, like, you know, are meatheads. That's what he says. His argument. The guys in my chat are meatheads, and they're trying to say science things, and they sound stupid. You know, but dude, you're a nerd. That's there's the flip side of that is you're a nerd. So which is worse? Being a meathead, we're talking about lifting weights, my dude, or being a nerd? You're a nerd.
He's appealing to himself as the figure of authority because he's the native speaker.
Yeah,
so he knows what's right and what's wrong out of the studies.
Yeah,
and he can determine and decipher that information.
Yeah.
Not you, meathead.
Yeah, you're a dumb meathead, and I'm Alexander Bromley, the scientist, who's been within 10 miles of a research facility, and I know, but you couldn't possibly know because I can hear it in your word. This is why I said what I said in the beginning. You see, because he kind of is saying the same thing as me about the people that disagree with him, right? You got to listen to what they say and how they say it, and then he's characterizing it in a certain way. But this is classic deconstructionism, right? He's not able to take the arguments at face value. And so what does he do? He attacks the person, strawmans them, gets mad. He even said he got mad. Went in his comment section, got mad, had to get a counselor and talk to his wife. Unbelievable.
And notice, how many minutes are we into this video? Like, how long is it that YouTube video played?
I can't see. 5 minutes.
Okay, in 5 minutes, he never brought up one thing to make a rebuttal against.
No.
There's not one piece of information that he has tried to contradict.
Zero.
Not one. There's zero principles, zero aspects of the theory. There's nothing that he's, there's nothing that he's even debating here.
No. What he's saying that you're going to plateau. He's saying that what happens when you plateau? You have to switch up variables, bro. You're not listening.
We don't believe in plateauing. You're not going to plateau if you do me.
There is no plateaus, dummy. You know what you do? You rest, and then you go back and lift again, and then you lift a little bit more than you did before, and you progressively load. There's no plateaus. So, what are you talking about? Like, just because you have plateaus, my dude, because you don't train HIIT, right? And then you're doing weird nerd shit to try and figure out why that keeps happening to you and why your tummy's wider than your lats. That's your fault, man. It's your fault for being
a tummy. He has a tummy.
It's a tummy, bro. Him and Greg Knuckles play tummy sticks, bro.
Tummy sticks.
Okay. Let's keep going. He name drops Greg Knuckles, who, like, granted, is a super strong dude, but also he's not very lean, and he doesn't look very good. So strong and smart, I guess. Cool.
The plan is just something they want to appeal to because a guy they like on YouTube cited some studies. So now it's like you can say, oh, the science. The attempts at appealing to the evidence-based side of things were just so horrifically bad. It was a lot of people just saying, where are the studies?
Give me an example.
Studies. Jay's given studies. Where are your studies? Which by itself gives away how little involvement the individual has in any STEM field. Even so much as a chemistry lab at a junior college, you get some sense of how the type of work that leads to a study is like one puzzle piece of like a 1,000,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. And you got to take a step back and look at the whole picture. And these people are trying to take one puzzle.
He's got the whole picture, okay?
It's a dolphin, right? It's a dolphin. Like,
if you take the initiation rites, he'll reveal them to you slowly.
Yeah.
What kind of Masonic bullshit is that? You're like, no, you've only got one piece. There's a little bit more. You need to join my side, and I'll explain to you. It's just one piece of the puzzle. There's so many pieces.
Yeah,
I've got the whole puzzle in the back.
Degree. Once you reach the 33rd degree, you'll be training for density and getting gains.
Yeah.
Or something, right? Like, this is nonsense, bro. Like,
no, it's just phallus worship.
Yeah.
He just wants you to worship his phallus.
Yeah. He wants to charge subs for his tummy stick leak. Anyways, man, what he just said, like, again, he's leading into the thing that I was talking about, where now this is happening because these nerds can't even use their science to support their nonsense anymore, because we're right. Mike was right. That recent meta-analysis, whatever it is, we didn't even look at it yet. I don't even care.
I don't even care about it. Yeah.
No, I don't care.
But if he's going to tell me the studies aren't true, to tell me what that study is and tell me why it's not true. Make an argument against HIIT.
Yeah.
This is the anti-HIIT manifesto, and there's nothing of substance in it. What is this?
Nothing in it. So when you're trying not to address like the actual issue. You're bouncing around the actual issue. This is deconstructionism, right? And so the mistake that people make a lot, and they've made before, and I even do this, that I was like, super science-based nerd internet guy, fam. I've told you guys before, I've did this, poured through studies and all this stuff, but it's so long ago I don't even remember because I don't care anymore. So it's pointless, So like, I'm very much happy to sound like a meathead. And it's like, if I got back into this kind of science back and forth nonsense, right? I'm just getting sucked into the argument the place he wants to be able to have the argument. He wants to obfuscate the truth, right? And if he pulls you into this academia, which is what he did, and this becomes the basis for him saying that now he does his appeal to authority as what it is. This one is called white coat fallacy, right? So I'm the fancy guy, right? I'm the guy with the white coat, so you better listen to me. You know what I mean?
Right. I'm accredited. I have the credentials. You don't have the credentials. You're not allowed to hold this information because you can't, you're not qualified to hold that information.
Yeah, that's real. The reason I don't have a master's degree is because while I was doing my thesis, I realized that I was being a nerd and I didn't care anymore about being a nerd and getting credentials that allowed me to have arguments with these types of morons. You understand?
Well,
so
man, tell the truth, brother. You wrote your thesis against the structuralist orthopedic model.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you fucking. I mean, you went JC and started flipping fucking tables in the. You started flipping the money changers tables, going, this whole shit is fucked up and wrong and dumb.
Yep, that's literally what I did. And that's how we got here many years later. So, I'm very sensitive to this type of rhetoric because I've heard it so much before, bro. Like, I've been in the chats 10 years ago arguing with the Jeff Nippards of the world and the Greg Knuckles of the world and all this stuff. And at a certain point, and back then, you'd get on the side of an argument with some guys and on the other side of the argument with other guys, and you just go back and forth. And then it's like I started to become ashamed of myself, bro. I started to wonder, like, am I really a nerd like this? Like, is this who I am now? And I just had to pull back. I just had to get out. Talk about cults.
You just tell everybody the truth. You couldn't get your NASM certs. You don't have your NASM certs.
It's
and
true.
You're not qualified, bro. You had to take a step back.
It's true. Actually, really, like, truthfully, like, literally, I failed my CSC, the Certified Strength and Conditioning Coach Specialist cert, which, like, back then I thought that was the coolest cert. If you have CSCS at the end, I wanted to have BSc, MS, MSc, CSCS. That's what I wanted. That was my little alphabet that I wanted at the end of my name. And then, and if I did that, if I actually accomplished it, then I could be like BSc, MSc, CSCS, 2+ LGBTQ S or whatever, and then I'd be cool. Everybody would love me. That'd be awesome. I'd be famous and rich, and me and Alexander Bromley would be doing streams together.
This to rest. The reason you are not being scientific or appealing to the science when you are utilizing individual studies, specifically in exercise science, to inform your training decisions is because there are severe limitations to the studies. These are all talked about. I had a talk with Greg Knuckles last week.
Really quick. Oh, yeah, he just said Greg Knuckles really quick. So this is the part where he goes and felts 25 years of vol cell argumentation. This is the moment where the tables turn, folks. So it happened here. You saw it on IconoCast. Because when he did this, nobody realized what was happening. But we're highlighting it for you as we're bringing you the goods, folks. You understand? There's a moment in history. Vol cells felt it. Self-felt it.
Funding. So oftentimes they have kind of poorer methods of measurement than you would like. He also said, and this stands to reason, this fits my experience, the field of exercise science, apparently something like 85% of the studies put out had statistical errors in them. He put it more diplomatically than I would. He basically said that people that are really good at math and science tend to end up in math and science fields. Now, that's just one small part, because the big thing is, what are your limitations with this study? Like, even if you have all the money, even if you have the best minds, what can the studies do? Any field where you have a ton of variables to consider, those variables are intrinsically tangled together, meaning changing one changes all of the others. And those variables exist within individuals who between themselves are all highly variable. Makes it extremely hard, if not outright impossible, to control for these variables the way you want to. You also have to operationalize things. So like in psychology, if you're trying to study happiness, well, how do you measure happiness? You have to have a proxy for that. And there's a whole bunch of assumptions that go into it. So you end up with this replication crisis because all of the variability, each little point at which has its own little like wiggle room, its little play in the joints. And over all of these variables together, over all of the limitations of the study, that ends up for pretty big margins for error. The same thing is going on in nutrition. The bullshit that gets put out in nutrition studies, it's legendary. We're not getting the whole picture yet because our ability to study is limited. You can have as much money as you want. You can have the best minds. You're still going to have a cap on what you can find in laboratory studies. You're limited on the types of questions you can ask. So in the field of exercise science, they compare volume and intensity. The first thing I think of is, how did they apply the volume? What methods did they use? What was the density like? What was the exercise selection? What was the frequency? Was it appropriate for the group that they had? What was their method of progression? Was it a linear progression? Was it more of a static progression where they just had them do kind of the same thing? There's so many questions you can ask, and each one has huge implications for how they would respond to it. And all of these limitations are exactly why we don't look at individual studies to inform decisions. Even if we did do that, you would want to look at what the lion's share of the studies say. Like I said, one puzzle piece out of a million-piece jigsaw puzzle. If you take a step back, you see this picture, this cohesive way of looking at training, that the entirety of exercise science and all of the things that branch off of it abide by. And everything from the field of strength and conditioning, which deals with pro athletes and billion-dollar sports franchises, from Olympic lifters and Olympic sports programs, to professional bodybuilders. You're looking at guys living out of their car, spending all their money on cans of tuna
Pause for a
because
sec.
they're that desperate. They're that.
So, dude, yes, there is if you pull back and you look at the entire bodies of evidence, yes, there is a method that everybody should abide by. Whether you fell into your failure reps like incidentally, right? Because you were in prison, you had no stuff, or you read Arnold's encyclopedia. Eventually, you hit the last 5 reps of a set. The implement slowed down involuntarily, and you stimulated muscle growth. And you had your final transcendent rep, So there is, and it's called HIT. You loser. Ugh. Unbelievable.
Yeah, they're not the exercise science studies aren't really putting a theory into practice. They're not testing a theory via the scientific method. You have to have a valid theory that's logical first, and then you test it. What is our theory? Our theory is that one set to failure is all that is required to stimulate the adaptive response. Volume is always a net negative. The more work we do, the more we have to recover from. The body has a limited capacity for recovery, therefore it requires rest time. The body grows at rest. We can test this. How can I test to see if one set to failure was enough? Well, I'll train with X number of sets to failure with X number of days between a recurring training session, and I will see if my force production is greater on my subsequent training session. If my force production is greater, then my theory is true. I've validated it. The data will show that I saw an adaptation within the muscle occur. The greater the cross-sectional surface area of a muscle, the more force it can put out. See, I just named a valid theory and how to test it. This theory could apply to all individuals. It doesn't matter if they are untrained, if they are fucking old, if they are women, if they are fat, if they are children. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter their genetic predispositions. None of that shit matters. if they don't progress, then they could go back the next week and retest the theory and change one of the variables, one of the alterable variables. They can lower their volume and retest, or they can lower their frequency and retest.
Yeah, which is essentially what he's saying, but he's saying it from the stupid retarded frame. Sorry, of we're gonna get banned of periodization, right? So he's saying change periodization variables, change for density, do more volume, right? Like, what are you really saying, dude? That's a question for Bromley. What are you really saying? You don't even know what you're saying because you're all confused because your whole worldview, your whole like perspective. These guys, what they're gonna do, man, watch Mike Israel and watch these types of dudes. What's gonna happen? They're gonna eventually go towards making exactly our arguments and actually advocating for one set to fail, and they're not gonna give us the credit. They're gonna act like they thought of it. It's gonna be amazing to watch. We're on the path there now. That's gonna be the outcome of this. Mark my words. Mark my words. If Mike Israel eventually is gonna say that he invented HIT, that Joe Weider invented HIT. That's what's going to happen.
Well, I did hear Mike say that the only thing that matters is effective reps.
Yes, sir. I heard him say that.
I did hear him say it. I did hear him say it recently.
Yeah, very recently.
Yeah, very recently.
Yeah, we're gonna have to pull that up at some point, but we're gonna expose you guys to this a little bit slowly, one little piece of stupidity at a time, and one little concession at a time, because. Again, mark my words, it's all going in our direction because they cannot handle the arguments. This nonsense of reps in reserve, this nonsense of RPE.
You can't measure that scientifically. You can't measure that one scientifically either. You can't. You know what you can measure every fucking day of the week? Failure. Failure is universal. It applies to everyone. You can no longer perform a rep in the concentric. You cannot complete a rep in its concentric motion. Don't be a Jeff Niptard and try to argue about ranges of motion. Well, what if I get to the X percentage of my ROM? Nobody cares, bro. You didn't complete the rep. It's over. You failed. Move on. You see, we have a scientific basis to measure all of our variables, and we can keep them consistent. It's just...
Yeah. If you want to, because we're not nerds, we're not trying to do science. However, we are doing science. It's natural science, folks. The way science used to be done before all of our institutions were compromised.
Thank you, bro.
Shittered up and pissed up with the type of dudes that this guy references. He wants authorities. He said at a certain point, I don't know if he's going to say it here or in the next video, he says, I'm waiting for the Mike Israel of HIT to come and tell me why HIT is correct. He wants to see a guy with the credentials, with the background, with the years of experience to tell him why HIT is correct. What's it going to take, bro? Like, I've got a little online degree. I got 15 years behind me. Mike Menser is Mike Menser, dog. You think that Mike Israel and Mike Menser should be mentioned in the same breath? You think I should mention myself in the same breath as Mike Menser or Dorian Yates, my guy? Are you on drugs? Right? Most of these bug men are on drugs, for the record. So, maybe he is. Maybe he's got on drugs, prescription drugs from his therapist that his wife made him go get because he's too weird. He reads too many comic books or something like this. Probably. Good chance. But, man, I'm telling you, they're just not going to accept it. That's it. Because they see themselves as the white coats. They see themselves as, the guys with the perspective, the guys, I've been in 10 inches, 10 feet, 10 miles of a lab, which is not where the real science happens, bro.
All of my previous argumentations that I just made on the stream is just me pretending to be smart.
Yeah, you're just a meathead, Billy.
I just pretended to be smart just now. I used the veil of logic to put that all together, to string together that nonsense. I don't have the whole puzzle. I just got one little piece of it. I'm not qualified because I'm a bodybuilder from Southwest Louisiana.
I just had an old guy walk by my front window and flex at me while you were doing that.
That's hot.
Nice. This boomer came and told me I was working too hard. It gave me a most muscle.
Hit him, MM.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. But so yes, dude, right? You're just like, just go back to your heavy equipment. You know what I mean?
Right. I need. Yeah.
Don't try, Billy, because you can't hang with these guys. They have their little white coats, they have their little EMG machines and their labs and their budgets, and they want to play tummy sticks.
Their NASM certs.
Yeah, bro, and their porn addictions and their OnlyFans that they're probably gonna set up to show tummy stick league. You know what I'm saying? Like this is what's up, man. This is what these guys do, bro. It's absolute nonsense. And you know that Mike Israetel is gonna be reffing each tummy. He's gonna be the ref for the tummy stick league. He's gonna be right in there calling.
That is right up his alley.
Yeah, 100%, bro.
That hungry to be as good as possible. And you get things from the people in the comments saying like, well, they don't do HIIT because it's too hard. So because we can't look at any one high performer and really know beyond a shadow of a doubt that it's not just their genes that made them that good, we can look at the entire culture of high performers and get a consensus of what works and what doesn't.
The appeal to authority. Well, let's look at the guys at the top and see what they do. That means they're right. He just talked about the genetic elites and like, somebody just got good because of their good genes. Yeah, I'll carry on. This fucking guy. So he goes on to say that, he needs the right test pool, of people. You can't just say that HIIT works for you. You might have, really good genes. So that takes away from you, the validity of your argument, because maybe I just have good genes and that's why HIIT worked for me. Yet he wants to take a look at all of the high performers and see what they do. You mean the people that rose to the top 0.1% of the population, and you want to ask them what they did to get there? Those motherfuckers could have pushed lawnmowers and got bigger chests than 99% of the population. Have you seen Ronnie Coleman's mama? She is yoked. No question about it. He wants to look at the top 99% and ask them what they do. That is an appeal to authority. It's exactly what that is. You're looking at the top of the top and giving credence to their arguments based on their position. This video summarizes pretty much every debate against HIIT I've ever seen. Every debate against heavy duty training, anyone who's tried to backlash against me, when I bring up my argumentations or I present the theory, it's always the same. Just like that, every time. They automatically assume the high ground in regard to intelligence and how to distribute information. Therefore, you are automatically disqualified. They rarely ever actually make argumentations against the theory. It is always your character that is attacked. It is always an appeal to a higher authority. It's always that white coding shit, which is pretty much what I just said. Straw mans and ad hominems. Well, Bill, you're just big because you're on steroids and you train with volume for years. It's like people ask me that one all the time. But did you start with high volume? Yeah, I did a lot more volume back then than I do now. But you know what I always did? Day one in the gym, I went to failure. The guys who took me under their wing would make me train so hard, like brutally. Forced reps, drop sets, triple drop sets, force negatives. That was day one. Intensity was always there. But as time progressed, I got stronger and stronger and bigger. And the amount of damage that I could do to myself with intensity, to training to failure, the output that my muscles had was causing, exponential or gradually increasing levels of damage that I could no longer recover from. So over the course of my 10 years of training, I have done less and less and less and less work volume and had way more rest. So less frequency as well. The one variable that never changed in any of my training was how intensely I train. I found out that I'm not capable of deloading. When I would go into the gym and it was supposed to be my little quote unquote deloading period, I would just grab lighter weights and train to absolute failure. That's what I would do. And you know what would happen? I'd get injured. I'd stay banged up, dinged up, achy, sore. And that was with about 8 sets maximum on a body part. See, I was doing 2 top sets with some warming up, and I could sustain progression on that for about 4 to 6 weeks. After the 6 weeks was up, it was time for me to chill out. I would plateau, obviously, at that 4 to 6 weeks. Then I was supposed to chill. I'd go in, train like I do because it's in my blood, and then I would just get banged up, dinged up, injured. So what was the natural progression to do? What was I supposed to do? Well, do less sets, take more rest. Look at me now. I'm 5'6.5", and I'm a true heavyweight bodybuilder on stage. Where did I start? Where did I start at? How much have I progressed in the last year? How much have I progressed in the last 3 years?
Really, you started on volume. You started on volume. You did
I started on
first.
intensity, motherfucker. Fuck all that bullshit. I did intensity first. I did intensity. It was always intensity. People ask me that all the time. They try to use that as like a pull the rug out from underneath me.
Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't you start with high volume? I never did 5 sets of fucking 5. Never. Never did that. Never did 3 sets of fucking 10. I did sets till I couldn't do them anymore.
That's it, man.
AMRAP. Everything was AMRAP. As many reps as possible. There's your density. You want to see density in your training? Look at my shoulders. Suck my fucking dong, Bromley. Shit pisses me off, man.
There we go. So the old dude that flexed in the window, he just came back in, and then I'm gonna bring him in for a consult. But this guy, what he said to me was that he goes to the gym, and he said you know what he said? He said they shit on me in the gym when I went to get my membership, and all the people there, all the trainers and all the members, they were shitting on me, telling me all this stuff, and I didn't know what to do. He said I went on the internet to try and figure it out. He's like, I couldn't figure it out. I was like, my man, and he put up the middle finger. He's like, I just want to be like, F you to these people. I was like, dude, you got the right attitude, man. I got you. I'm gonna explain everything to you. Set up a consult with me, and we'll get it sorted out for you. And the reason, so why would an old guy like this, who's probably trained a lot of years, never got that good of results, why would he go through this? What is happening out there? Right? That's why I got this. Right? That's why me and Billy are here. That's why we're A-logging dummies like Alexander Bromley. It's because people can't figure out that there is one right way to do things. Billy, on his own cognition, personal predispositions of being a savage, figured it out on his own. Right? And then he realized, oh shit, there's people doing the same thing as me. How are they doing it? What are the protocols? Here we go, heavy duty 3.0. You understand, folks? So, this guy called.
When I listened to Mike, man, it was like the gospel. It was like the gospel he told to me.
Yeah,
I knew that something was wrong. I knew that I wasn't right, but it was tugging on me. I knew intensity is all that matters. Every time I do less, it gets better and better. And then Mike put it all together and gave you the roadmap to where you can logically put all the pieces where they go, and you can test it every single week. What's up with that old man who walked up to your store? He was intelligent. Mm-hmm. That was his deal. He looked at everything and realized it's all a bunch of circular bullshit. It's all a bunch of circular reasoning. And he couldn't get to the bottom of it. None of it made sense to him. It didn't make sense to him because he's intelligent.
Boom.
An intelligent person, this shit does not make sense to.
Nope.
The reason people do this stuff, and I'm sorry if you feel like I'm calling you stupid if you're listening to me right now. But we're so conditioned to be taught what to think and not how to think. It is the way our education system is designed. It is the purpose of the television that sits in our living rooms. It is what our boomer parents were saturated with. That and seed oils, bro, we were fucked.
Speaking of seed oil,
it's just asthma nebulizer and some nicotine.
now people are triggered. Now our fans are triggered.
Oh yeah, you're catch the heat now. But yeah, it's you can't. You're doing it because you see someone who is in a position of authority that you trust, not because it makes sense to you, not because you can logically explain it. You might even think you can, but if you explain it to me and then I rebut it and we go through a debate together, if you're honest with yourself, you'll see that there's going to be huge holes in it. It's not going to hold up. And that is not me being an authority of anything. It is just the way logic works. There is objective reality and there is falsehood. And objective reality is always going to stand up. It is what is true. It is the universe. It is the world we live in.
Mm-hmm. I've been back and forth through, dude. When I was young and I first started training, I had my best results. And a dude that I knew because I'm old. So guys in the 90s that I knew that were older than me, that I've been training, they found Mentor stuff. And my buddy told me, he's like, my dude had to be 8 years older than me at the time. Guy I really respected. A bunch of big dudes in that crew and guys I really looked up to. And they said to me, pick up the weights, lift the heaviest weight you can pick up and lift it till you can't lift it anymore. Put it back down, do it again, or change exercises. Right? So the do it again thing was a little off, but regardless, the point there is that I had my best gains when I wasn't thinking, when I was just following my intuition, following the advice I was given by some big dudes. And I wasn't a professional by any means. I was very far from it at the time. I got into the field from having that type of success, rehabbed a couple of things that were wrong with me, blah, 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 blah. Get in the field, start hearing people, going through the same process as this old man, hearing other trainers, hearing all the garbage on the internet, listening to the people, like, what your client wants or whatever this nonsense. And then I start deviating. Oh, maybe this, oh, maybe that, RIR, blah, blah, blah. And then eventually, you get away from it, dude. At a certain point, I was confused. My program, I'd even told you, I was like, I can't really figure out. Remember, way back, man, I was telling you, dude, I feel like I can't even write programs. That was where I was at. And I'm like I'm 12 years into 11 years into being a professional. I feel like I can't even write programs. What's going on? Right. And on that whole conversation, interaction between you, me, and our homies turned into this. Because we figured it out, because we know how to think. And maybe I didn't know how to think that well necessarily, but when you get into a collective and you use the people around you that know what they're talking about in terms of how to synthesize the information that's being provided, right? When you hear that golden nugget, when you hear that piece, that thing clicks, bro, it's like somebody just gave you the key, right? Gave you the key to the box, man.
Man, I always go back to Bible so frequently because it just applies, but that's what's called the engrafted word of the heart. So that word is like a shape, and there's a slot in your heart for it, and it just fits in perfect. And there's no other piece that could fit in there. It's
Amen,
perfect.
Brother. Amen,
dude, it's
brother.
Crazy. Like, I feel sacrilegious for calling like this kind of.
Well,
it's like a revelation. I mean,
truth is a capital T. God loves truth.
Yeah,
truth is close to God.
Truth with a capital T. Logos.
Yes,
that's what Christ is called. Logos. Truth. Order.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about. So it's not sacrilege. God loves the people that pursue truth. And truth, it happens in nature. So when you're talking about science, what we're talking about natural science. It's a respect for God. It's a respect for nature. These brilliant men that came up with our institutions initially, that came up with the brilliant ideas that have led us to having developed Western civilization, they were doing natural science. They were doing it. They were all religious. They all loved God. They were doing it in honor of Him. Right. And so this dude right here, I'm telling you right now, Bromley is an atheist. Ladies and gentlemen, he does not love God. I'll tell you this right now. Okay. And he's deferring.
That joke about maybe get a priest.
Maybe
where is that?
Yeah, sure.
What was that?
Yeah, you know what I mean. So he's worshiping false idols, ladies and gentlemen. He wants to get told what he wants to get told by the own leader of his cult. You know what I mean. He wants to have somebody come and feed him the nonsense the way that it speaks to him on a level of this world, because he doesn't have that space in his heart to go find that key and twist it. He could find it. He has to find Christ. Anyways, we're digressing a little bit, but let's finish this video.
I think it's over.
Oh, did I get step away for the end of the video?
No, I think it ended as you had to step away, because "to be continued" was the last thing that was on the
Okay,
screen.
okay.
He left it on a nice cliffhanger, and I was telling the boys that what he did is he said, he doesn't want to use high performers or high achievers of HIT because they may have a genetic advantage, but he wants to look at the top high performers in all the different fields of sports to validate his volume theory.
Right. Yeah.
Isn't that fucking cute?
Yeah. So you guys can't appeal to authority, but I can. Right? You nonsense.
And
fool.
what I told the crew was, just because a person's one of the top 0.1 percentile of genetics on the planet does not validate the things they say.
Oh, we talked about that last week. Yeah, we talked about that last week on stream, right? Gretzky doesn't coach people, bro. Michael Jordan never stood behind the bench. You know what I mean? Like, let's be real here. But anyways, let's let sleeping dogs lie for the moment. I think we gotta spend some time cooling off. A little cooling off time before we get off air. Bromley's got us all upset. He's got us. He's got us talking to Jesus and stuff now. Like we've gone deep here. But anyways, we got really cool shows coming up, you guys. So Billy, can you get into a little bit of what happened? I don't know if you got some screenshots available. Maybe we could doc some convos between you and our debate guests. I don't know if you want to do that on stream tonight, but how did we lead into this debate? Like what was the story there? So people can have some background. Let's hype it up a little bit.
I may have them on Telegram on my laptop. So let me see if I can pull it up. But basically, someone sent me a video, and if someone sends you one in your DMs, and you click on it, and then you scroll down, another video will play, and you get lost in the hole. You get lost in the sauce, and you just start flipping through videos. And this one popped up where this, rather handsome fellow was, sitting in his car and talking about training, and he said that, your deloading is important. And I just said that I just left a little comment because you know how I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said that, if your training's set up right, you never need to deload because deloading means you are overtrained. And that pretty much started it. System, what is this?
One of the things these people like to do is they like to say, define me this and define me that. They want to play in terms, right? They want to, and so that's a game I'll gladly play, right? So define your terms, right, in advance so that we can speak the same language.
I always do that. And I think I did that in my argument with him in the comment section. I told him to define his terms. Yes, that's something I always do.
Yeah.
You see, I do it so often I didn't even realize I did it for that specific instant.
It's a very effective thing because it makes them, they'll do it to us for one, but it makes them, it breaks down the deconstructionism, right? They're going to take a term you use and they're going to take it out of context and make an argument against it, right? So like, for example, overtraining, like what do we mean when we say overtrained, right? Some people are going to say overtraining means rhabdo. Overtraining means you're exhibiting the signs of not having recovered, right? So you don't necessarily have to be losing sleep yet to be overtrained, right? You don't necessarily have to have your be catabolic to demonstrate being overtrained. There's many symptoms that you might see that when overtraining starts to become clinical, like you see those symptoms start to pop up, and that can happen with people. It really does happen with people, but it's because they're persisting over time through the overtraining, right? So how do we know we're overtrained? You got in the gym.
No longer progress.
Boom! You got in the gym.
Not progress.
You trained one day, You marked all your numbers down. You got in the gym for that session. The next time you got in the gym for that session, you did not do a heavier weight or you did not perform an extra rep. The end.
There
The
was no
end.
progression.
Because why
There was
would you?
no progression in your force application.
That's it. So if you have cancer, you try to catch it early, the cancer goes away. You don't get the symptoms. Right? If you're overtrained, catch it early. How do you catch it early? You didn't progress. Right? You don't have to actually have the symptoms start to express themselves to know that you're overtrained. So this is very common among the Volcel community. They will start to say, "Oh, it's not overtraining. It's not overtraining until
It's
this,
not
until
chronic
that."
until
Yeah,
when
it's
it's
not
chronic.
pathological. It's not clinical.
Yeah. When you got chronic overtraining, yeah, then you're going to start to get, tendonitis.
Yeah.
It's just going to get banged up. Then you'll eventually tear something.
Maybe you'll get a deload. Maybe you'll get a plateau because of those things, right? Which,
Right.
dude, so sick job prioritizing people, Bromley, right? You're giving your own clients plateaus and then you're changing up variables, right? Because you got to shock the body, bro. You got to keep it guessing because it adapted, right? So why not just train on a BOSU, right? Why not jump up and down in a circle and pick your nose for cardio, dummy?
Because your body will get used to that. It'll get used to
Right. Yeah, if you
like
keep
what?
if you
It's going
squat
to
on
get
an
used to the law
exercise
of
ball,
thermodynamics. It's going to get used to thermodynamics.
yeah.
You got to do something different.
Yeah, dude.
Oh shit! You're getting adapted to gravity. What, dude?
Yeah, no. If you stay on a BOSU or a Swiss ball, right, while you lift the weights, then it's unstable. So you're always guessing. Your body's always guessing. You know what I mean? Shocking the body with the guesswork of the
Shock.
instability. Yeah, where do they
Shock
come
the
up with this
body, babe.
nonsense, bro? Where do they come up with this nonsense? It's the same thing. These are all arguments that the vol cells already went 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 5 years ago, went and said, no, more stability is better. BOSUs are stupid. Swiss balls are stupid. For whatever. You guys felt yourselves with your own dumb arguments now because you're wrong and you won't admit it. That's the bottom line. That's where it's going. Watch. Mark our words, ladies and gentlemen.
When Mike Israel said effective reps, bro, it slapped me. I was like, did he just say that?
Yeah.
The only thing that matters are effective reps. Motherfucker, you've been saying the only thing that matters is volume. That volume is the main driver of hypertrophy.
Yeah, he's been saying that forever.
What are you talking about?
He conceded in that little short. He thought he was gonna slip it in under the radar and nobody would notice.
60 seconds.
Yeah. But IconoCast is here for you, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, man.
The boys are here for you. Physique Fridays got you, ladies and gentlemen. We don't let these things slide. We hold our feet to the fire. You know what I'm saying? Mike is
hold ours
getting
to
away
the
with
fire.
it, bro.
Hold us to the fire too.
Yeah,
if you got something on us, man, come on the show.
Please do. Hold us to the fire.
We're nobodies, but hey, feel free to make an example of us.
Yeah, please.
Put us on a big stage. Shut down the cult.
You're just a tiny little bug crawling up your leg. Just slap it down. Crush us. You know what I mean? If you can.
We're in your walls, though.
We're in your walls.
We're in your walls, though. So I got the comments pulled up. Maybe if Justin Trudeau wants to get in the council chat and scroll up, I have some screenshots of it, and maybe he could find the guy's Instagram and look up the video. The channel name is Muscle Recruitment. If he wants to play that, or I could just read him out and kind of explain how everything went down. I'll admit I wasn't my most intellectual in it.
Bro.
Didn't have to be my most. I was kind of being an asshole. But
that's fine, man.
He did. He was cool about it. He wanted to do the debate. He was excited by the end of it. So I was like, okay, this turned out well.
That's cool, man. Maybe I'm sure he's a nice guy and stuff. You know what I mean? We're not that mean, but the thing is, we don't have to be nice if we don't feel like it. Okay, folks.
Yeah, I get mean about stuff that I find as erroneous and detrimental to the public at large.
Yeah.
When I hear things that are leading people the wrong way and are just false and it's detrimental, I don't like that. It strikes me.
Never personal. Sometimes it is. I'll say stuff. I'll make it personal, but we're just playing.
Yeah. So the video had something to do with, deloading being very important for higher level athletes, your intermediate to advanced athlete. And so I commented this: train 2 to 3 days a week with low volume to absolute failure with past failure sprinkled in. You'll never need to deload. Deloading means you are overtrained. Classic response: 2 days a week, you're correct. You'll never ever need to deload. You're also leaving tons on the table. That's like saying train once a month and you'll never need to deload. Obviously. Okay. So I'm right, but I'm wrong.
You're so right. You're wrong, Billy. He couldn't possibly have an error in his framing, right? He couldn't possibly have been influenced.
Yeah,
by
there's got to be a reason I picked, that I picked the number of days that I did. It didn't just say train once a year. But I won't get into that on the debate. Yes, I'll teach him. And I just said, I promise you, I'm not leaving any gains on the table. 16 pounds of lean tissue in a year, weigh in to weigh in. It's like leaving gains on the table. Because I don't do high volume and high frequency, surely I'm not growing as fast as I could.
Silly. It's okay.
The amount of ignorance to that, though, it's like they can't possibly comprehend a world where you don't train 5 days a week. It's anathema to them.
Yeah.
Oh man,
you see the hackles go up. You see them just start to get. I thought of more Bible. Hit us with the Bible stuff, Billy. Let's go. Preach.
The Bible says that the carnal mind is enmity against God. It is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. That means the carnal mind is not even capable. You can't even teach a carnal mind the capability to understand logic and truth. I believe that's in Romans chapter 6. Anyhow,
folks,
and, I think
relieve yourselves of your carnal mind, right? No tummy sticks.
So he says, it's always going to be individual. You may be the 1% that can train 2 times a week and see good progress. But to go around preaching that, hopefully you could acknowledge that's not normal, nor has any successful bodybuilder done that. That's less than Mincer did. Guys, you remember the Bromley video we just watched? All of those tactics, you see them, they're all coming out every single time I have one of these discussions with someone who's set. They're not actually open-minded to it. They're not asking me to explain why it is that I choose X number of days or how it is that I go about what I'm doing. It's, well, you're the 1%. Obviously, it's not normal. So, it's a freak thing. You're the 1%. No successful people do it. And I replied to him, I'm not special. I apply a logical theory. I've worked myself down to training to once every 4 to 7 days because that is what's required to see adaptation. And I put in parentheses, progressive overload. I never deload. None of my clients deload. Deloading means you are overtrained. Rest is a better alternative. Rest is when you grow, not when you train. Training more is not equal to more growth. If you are overtrained, you don't need to go into the gym and train at a less intensity. You need to sit your ass home and eat and sleep.
Mm-hmm.
If rest is when you grow, why would I go to the gym more days than I sit at home and rest?
Makes no sense, bro. You could read the Bible, you could read a book, you could take your girl out for dinner, you could play with your kids. There's a whole big, beautiful world out there, fitness people, normie fitness people, bug men. There's a whole big, beautiful world out there that you could expose yourself to, but you don't want to do it. You want to go in the gym 2.5 hours a day. You want to do it 5-6 days a week. You want to play tummy sticks on the internet with your homies, and it's not a good thing for you. It's not healthy. Relieve yourselves of your carnal mind.
You know what the Bible calls that? An inordinate affection. That's an inordinate affection. And then I put another little comment right after to make sure he understood that what he's doing is not debating any idea. I said also, nor has any successful bodybuilder done that, is an appeal to authority, not a valid point in debate. And he says, okay, Bill, but you cannot discredit decades and decades of anecdote. I'm not a Ronnie did this guy, but when 99% of the industry has found success doing things a certain way, that counts for something. Training 2 times a week, you're most likely hitting about 2 to 3 sets per week per direct muscle group, which goes against all recent literature when it comes to volume.
Wow.
He got my program, bro. He knows exactly what I'm doing.
I'm a normie. I can't think for myself, bro. 99% of people believe in democracy too. Look where that's getting us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, these are the common arguments, bro. This is the common way it goes. It's a template. We see it over and over and over and over. These people don't know each other. They don't talk to each other, right? Some of them do. Some of them are all in tummy stick league together, but mostly not, right? Like mostly if you're a vol cell, you're gonna heal the vol cells can come up with their own the same argument from like miles and miles away from each other, from million points of separation, and they'll say the same stuff. So it's framework versus framework. One has a truth with a capital T, and the other one is, as you described, what did you say? Inordinate affection.
Inordinate affection. Yeah, that's what drives them to validate or to put credence to the circular reasonings that they use, is because they'd have to let go of this sin. They don't want to do that. They don't want to repent of that. They don't want to turn away from that.
They're attached to their identity. It's attached to who they perceive themselves to be in the material, right? So to be able to acknowledge the performance of transcendent reps, to be able to limit and humble your ego, right? Mike talks about it. I feel like I can do more. I'll just do more. Right? I'll just do another set. It should be good, right? Right?
That'll be okay. I mean, what's one more? It'll obviously give me more results, though, right? I feel like I can do another.
Yeah, 100% increase. You just doubled your volume. You were not disciplined. You acted out of ego, right? You let your carnal mind lead you, right? It's a disciplined person that can apply this approach. It's in a sense overly simplistic, right? It brings you back down to the rootedness of who you are as a person, past who you perceive yourself to be as an individual. And there's all kinds of benefits you can get from different types of exercise, right? It's real, right? Like in terms of like, if you're locked up in prison, for example, you don't got a lot to do. You take the time you need to take to do a lot of push-ups. You're trying to heal your mind, heal your soul. I go back to that example because that's a really
that's a common thing for people. A lot of people train as I don't want to say mental pacifier right now because it's kind of inflammatory, but they train for their mental health. And for a person that has to do that, if they have a serious enough, mental health issue, then I say, go ahead, man, do all the exercise you need to do. Your goal is not to be as efficient, and it's not to pursue mastery. You're not trying to pursue mastery. You're just trying to heal. That's fine. But don't argue. You're not going to be able to argue with me that what you're doing is more effective than what I'm doing. And they won't. People that are honest, I talk to people like, that do this. Like my coach, for instance, my prep coach. He will tell me he knows what I'm doing works. He's never tried to argue any point of my training style or system. He won't alter it at all. But this guy, he has OCD and some severe anxiety that he's dealt with from a kid. So he trains the way he does. It helps him clear his mind. That's a whole different thing. But he wouldn't tell one of his clients to train the way he does.
Yeah. Lifting weights is not your therapy. It's not your therapist. You know what I mean? It's an endeavor that you need to go on to better yourself. And then I think the important word here, is transcendence. You have to transcend those things. Eventually, you'll do enough of it that you'll heal and grow past it, right? And then maybe you can quiet that carnal impulse, that ego speaking to you, and get to a place where you're effective, grounded, balanced, and able to stack W's for yourself. And that's if there's any therapy in the world, that's what it is, right? Don't run and hide from the world in the gym. Don't do this.
Yes.
Win at life.
Win.
You know?
Understand the world around you. Master the concepts within this world. Learn to master all of the endeavors that you set yourself out to do. Stack up the dubs, man.
Yes, bro.
Understand.
And listen, go learn to fight. Yeah, transcend. Go learn to fight. Go roll. Go join Muay Thai, go join Jiu-Jitsu. If you train 5-6 days a week, I promise you can't do those things. If you train HIIT, you can recover and grow muscle and do those things at the same time. So if you have priorities and you want to develop skills and you want to build yourself into a great man or a great person in general, there's certain tactics you need to take, and you need to approach them a certain way. And humility is the number one. And Billy and I have earned our way towards humility in our life. We've been put in that spot. We've been forced to become humble. God asked us to find that humility in our lives, and it's from that we're able to see things a little bit more clearly. This is not it's an academic minded approach, but in alignment with what's with that truth of the capital T,
Yeah, and we'll be perceived as prideful
Sure.
by the stance that we make, and I'm sure that's what this fellow was thinking. It's like, who's this guy? It sounds like he's pretty arrogant, to discredit 99% of the fitness industry and to discredit decades of anecdotes, because what I'm doing, it goes against everything. You got some balls, you got some nerve, you got some gall. And, no, I just have a logic chain that's infallible. It has not been broken yet. People like my friend Renee tell me that there's things that you can add to it. And I just say to him, well, buddy, at what point does it stop becoming efficient? If you're going to add all these little micro things in to where I can still try to train 4 or 5 days a week and then deload, it's like that's taken away from the rest of my life. I don't need that. I can achieve what I'm seeking out to achieve with this very, very simple concept. At what point do I need to sacrifice more of my time, life, and energy to squeeze out 3% or 2%? If that, to get that much more, it's not worth it.
And are we getting that much more?
Opinion.
Yeah. No.
Yes. And are you really? Are you really though? That's the other thing too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's few and far between people that are going to be able to do what Dorian Yates did. Put 4 days together, stack that systemic stress, and then recover from it adequately. And so, I honestly encourage people to go try. Prove maybe
100%.
go explore your genetic potential. Go look and see if you can do HIIT 4 days in a row and recover, and then do this, and then recover enough to progress. Right. So the next time you do those 4 workouts in 3 or 4 days, you progress on every single number. I saw something where Dorian Yates said that he had tracked every single workout written down with notes from 1983 till 1997. This is a level of discipline, right? If somebody can demonstrate this level of discipline and find out that they have the genetic capacity to recover from this in that way, bro, you're going to be Dorian Yates. So go do it. But how many are out there? Right. So find out. Go find out.
Yeah. That you won't know unless you try.
Mm-hmm.
You won't know unless you try. Isn't that the intro to the show? So get at it. Potential is only realized in retrospect. You don't know what you are. I know that it took me to get down to the point where I'm at to keep progressing. And people say to me, well, yeah, but Dorian trained 4 days a week, so that's what I'm going to do. It's like, hey, man, he did the books. He had the books. The books dictated that he could do it 4 days a week. You need to find out what the books show you. You need to put the theory in implementation and stop copying programs and stop listening to people who play tummy sticks. It's absurd.
On that note, family, I think we're going to take ourselves out of here. We're going to wish you a good, happy week, a good week of transcendence.
Did we have any questions? I'm not sure. I know I had some viewers.
Sorry.
I know had some guys from the Instagram I know are watching.
I don't have any.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess they were just listening.
Fair enough, boys. You guys know what's going on. You guys know what's up. You know where to find us on Sunday nights. I hope if you don't have any questions, it's because you're on track writing your books. Just I'm looking at what just got put up on the screen. So stay tuned. We got stuff coming up for you.
There's one guest I didn't mention. An amazing fellow, a guy with an incredible journey, an incredible character, a comedic mastermind, and an absolute thrasher. The most jacked skater in the world, Mr. Wecking Ball.
Oh yeah.
Now, I'm not sure if Weck's going to do the stream with us. We may do the for the Physique Friday podcast. It'll be a little bit more of an intimate experience. We're going to talk about what it means to be a man, and it's very in line with Weck's story as to getting to where the point he is now, leaving behind professional skateboarding, becoming a family man, becoming a master tradesman, and completely taking a different path in life than he could have kept proceeding on. Finding God as well. Now faith is a huge part of Mr. Weck's life. God-fearing man. Talk about it all the time with him. It's going to be a great episode. Dude, man.
So fired up, man. We don't have a date for that yet. You guys got to stay tuned for that.
No, he said he's going to just touch base with me next week and see what's going on. I mentioned the stream time, and I also mentioned that we could do the the recording. Yeah, we could do a recording too. So whatever works for him, man.
Yeah, you guys look out for that. That's going to be legendary. It's going to be so good. Weck's a dad. You're a dad. I'm a dad. Happy Father's Day, everybody out there. You guys are doing it, and we know why we do it, right? We know why we're out here. It's for the legacy. It's for the babies, So, yeah, that's right. God bless you guys.
For those children.
Correct. God bless you guys. Love you. And we'll see you next week.
Peace.
In order to train as hard as possible, you must retain a clear image of your purpose. Once your goal is sharply but realistically defined, all that remains is carrying out your plan. Don't, however, worry about your individual potential. Potential is only the expression of a possibility, something that can be assessed accurately only in retrospect. In other words, you'll never know how good you might have become unless you try. So let's get with it.